Now, the next topic is the ethical issues of the critical literature review, uh, which will be part of chapter 4 for the discussion. So, ethical issues is research involves in building on the work of others. When you summarize, add to, or challenge the work of others, there are two important pitfalls that you have to be aware or to be careful with. First is purposely misrepresenting the work of other authors, that is their viewpoints, ideas, models, findings, conclusions, interpretations, and so on. Now, the second is the plagiarism, which is the use of another's original words, arguments, or ideas as thought they were your own. Even if it is done in good faith, out of carelessness, or out of ignorance, let's be careful, because plagiarism is the stealing of others' ideas or works. Now let's talk more on the what we say the word plagiarism. So it is a type of a fraud that is taken very seriously in the academic world, mainly because using the work of others as if as if it were your own does not convey much respect in the community of the academe. So the efforts that other people have put into their craft or their work, a lifetime work. So two other reasons to take plagiarism very seriously. So as provided by J. Zerman, Mans, and the Vance Skaj, 2007. So first, plagiarism makes it difficult for the readers to verify whether your claims about the other authors and the source are accurate. So it means that your field of study or your research work may be a question of transparency, as well as questionable for the authenticity of the work of your research. So you need to be much more careful as to make your work not to consider as plagiarized. So the second is you are participating in a scientific debate, and you need to make your position in this debate clearly by designating the authors whose work you are building on or whose ideas you are challenging. So these are the common forms of plagiarism. First, we have the ghostwriter. No? The writer turns to another work word for word as his or her own. So this is much more common in the field of publication, which they hire ghostwriters who will not get credited, but the one who is really the main author of the research. We should avoid this one. The second is the photocopy, which the writer copies significant portion of the text straight from a single source without alteration. It's just a copycat from the previous author. The third is the potluck paper. The writer tries to disguise plagiarism by copying several different sources, tweaking the sentence and make it fit together while retaining most of the original phrasing. The fourth is the poor disguise. No? Although the writer has retained the essential content of the source, he or she has altered the paper's appearance slightly by checking the keywords and phrases. The fifth is the labor of laziness. Now, the writer takes the time to paraphrase most of the paper from other source and make it fit together instead of spending of the same effort on original work. The sixth is we have the self-stealer. The writer borrows generously from his or her previous work, violating policies concerning the expectations of originality adopted by most academic institutions. So these are the common forms of plagiarism, and please take note that we should be careful to prevent ourselves from getting caught by the what we call the copyright law of the Philippines. So to continue, this is still considered plagiarize. First, the forgotten footnote. The writer mentions an author's name for a source but neglect to include specific information on the location of the material reference. So these are the most common. In fact, myself, I usually use this one. So I think let's be careful the next time. The second, the misformer. The writer provides inaccurate information regarding the sources of making it impossible to find them. The third is the too perfect paraphrase. The writer properly cites a source but neglects to put in a quotation mark text that has been copied word for word or close to it. Although attributing the basic ideas to the source, the writer is falsely claiming the original presentation and interpretation of the information. The fourth is we have the resourceful citer. The writer properly cites all sources, paraphrasing using quotations properly. The catch is the paper contains almost no original work. It's just like a copy, a photocopy. It is sometimes difficult to spot this form of plagiarism because it's look like any other well-researched document. It's just what we call the photocopy in the last slides that I presented to you. So the fifth is the perfect rhyme. No? Well, we all know it doesn't exist. In cases, the writer probably quotes on side sources in some places, but go to paraphrase other arguments from other source without citation. So these are still considered plagiarized.